thanks for stopping by the MinnesotaBlack Robe Regiment. I am very excited and humbled and honored and all that appropriate stuff, because I am fortunate to have Lisa Hanson, who is the owner, proprietor, manager, head muckety muck of the Interchange in Albert Lea. I have been aware of the Interchange for several years. I attended church in Albert Lea for a few years, and a lot of the people that I went to church with over there love the Interchange. They told me about the Interchange early on, and unfortunately I never got a chance to stop in there while I was attending church in Albert Lea. And my first visit was last week, and some of you have already seen that video where I juxtapose this very, very dangerous business, the Interchange, literally killing grandmothers in the streets of Albert Lea. That's not happening, just so you guys know. At least not that I'm aware of. I saw no mass carnage. But I stopped in for coffee and a sandwich the other day, and had the pleasure to have an introductory meeting with Lisa and her husband, and she agreed to sit down, and after she properly vetted me through her internet savvy children, we agreed to do this. And she's here to tell her story, and I want to say her story is going to be super encouraging, and that somehow she's magically won all of her fights so far, but that doesn't appear to be the case. But her story is very important, and I want to get it out there. And so, Lisa, you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you ended up deciding to buy the Interchange and keep it going, and what got you to the point where you are today. And it sounds like you had a very busy legal day today. So thank you for sitting down with me.
Yes, it was a busy day today, and thank you for being patient and flexible with my crazy schedule. So we bought the Interchange. I bought the Interchange about a little over 7 years ago. We bought it more or less as a hobby business. One of our sons at the time was interested in the business, and so we said, yeah, we love the hospitality industry. We love watching people have fun, enjoy themselves, and we thought it'd be a great addition to what we already do. And so we bought it and have owned it for the last 7+ years.
So it was an existing storefront prior to that. Had it been a coffee shop or restaurant, or?
It was a very small, humble coffee shop. The space that we're in now, we use the whole space, the complete building that we're in. When we first purchased it, the coffee shop comprised, probably, is that the right word? The coffee shop existed in about 1/3 of the space that we're in currently, and it was a coffee shop. It really wasn't. It was a very simple coffee shop, and the owner had it owned it. I think had it open for about 9 months before we purchased, and we purchased it, and we decided right off that we needed to expand and grow. So we added food options, sandwiches, breakfast and lunch sandwiches. We increased our beverages, and we eventually brought on wine and beer, and eventually we're open a couple of nights a week. So we really grew the company. We eventually, instead of 1/3 of the space at the building that we're in, we needed the whole space. So we currently exist in the about a 20 by 100 foot space, and have grown our clientele, and it's been a great 7 years.
So as a local bistro, really, I mean, you guys are much more of a bistro than anything else.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's also really personal. So I would imagine you have developed a very, well, prior to this, maybe a very loyal local fan base that, as I've discovered with so many others, like Larvita from Haven's Garden and Lisa from the Alibi and some of these others, these people are becoming your friends. Well,
Right.
had been.
Some are still our friends.
Yeah. So this isn't you being where you're located in a town the size of Albert Lee, and having had a, and you guys have a business presence in town anyway.
Correct.
This is deeply personal for you.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. I think anybody that spends any time in business, we attach ourselves to our businesses. We work a ton of hours. Those of us that have had children and raised our children in business, the children have been part of the business. Our family has been part of this business, and we, blood, sweat, and tears, the old saying. Well, it's true. You put your lifeblood into your business. We love it. It's an extension of us. It's a part of us. It's what we love. So when we travel, we have the opportunity to do some traveling worldwide on occasion, and had the opportunity to go to, several different places around the world. We love the European countries, and that was kind of the inspiration, for the bistro is European style experience and equality, and just offering people a great place to come and enjoy, to fellowship, to have a great quality product in a really nice atmosphere. The cool thing about the Interchange is we exist in a historical building, so our interior walls are mostly the bare brick walls, and then the ceiling is actually open beam ceiling, and it's just really interesting. You definitely has such an ambiance that you couldn't recreate with new materials, right?
Right.
So
it'd take a lot more than money than it did to recreate something that exists already.
Yeah, I imagine that is true. So, so I mean, we've worked really hard for our company, and it's important to offer our clientele a great experience to us. And that takes a lot of hard work. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've learned from those mistakes, and we continue to learn. But it is very personal. You're right.
So the life expectancy of a food service business for an entrepreneur, the statistic is out there, and you'll hear it talked about on everything from Kitchen Nightmares. I don't know if you're a Gordon Ramsay fan, but they talk about it on things like Kitchen Nightmares and Hotel Hell and any other number of shows. They say that 3 to 5 years is the max for most restaurants. Mm-hmm. If they can make it past that 5-year mark, they're probably going to survive. Now, obviously, that's not always the case, because we see businesses that have been open 30, 40, 50 years. At some point, they just lose their business and they're gone. But you're in that 7 to 10 year phase now, where not only have you survived the killing field of new businesses, but you're also in that beyond just having a small customer base to having expanded to probably attracting people from other places, that'll come. And here you are now in a phase of your business and with your community family where you're in danger of not surviving because of no fault of your own.
Right.
And I would imagine that played a big part in what made you finally say enough is enough and sign up for the resistance, so to speak. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It got to the point, we were shut down back in March, and the only way that we survived that was we were one of the businesses that actually received help, the PPP loan, and then a couple of local grants. That's a whole nother story. I don't like taking government help. I mean, we're able-bodied people. We're hard workers. We've always made our way, and we don't need the help. But when a government forces a shutdown like they did on us, it doesn't leave a business in a very good position. And so, you know, that first shutdown, yeah, even with the help, we weren't really making it, to be honest with you. And so second shutdown comes around, and it's like, you got to be kidding me. We have not even close to rebounded from the first shutdown, and now we're getting shut down again. There's no way we can survive this. So, you know, we got information. Actually, we were introduced to a coalition in Minnesota, and we said, yeah, we want to join that. Here's the deal. Either I close my doors permanently, or I open up and face the consequences to going against the governor's his edicts. So we opened up, and here we are. I mean, it really did come down to that decision.
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this when we spoke last week. I'm not sure. Massage therapist that I use, she goes unnamed for her own protection. She has stayed operating because her business is very private in that she operates from her own property and nobody really knows that she's there. So, but she said that, you know, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do this. This is what I've committed to. This is my career. This is my income. And if I don't do this, if I close my business, I lose my business. If I open my business, I lose my business. What choice do I have?
Right.
And she's been there again. She's very sequestered out in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. So she's but that's not the case for everybody. And so when you have a business like yours, who's gone through and barely squeaked by the first time, here, let me ask it this way. If, without giving away trade secrets, how close was it the first shutdown for you? How obviously that money that you didn't want, but you ended up getting helped, and you even said not a lot. How close was it? Would it have been done if you hadn't gotten that little injection from the government? Or
oh yeah, absolutely. When the first shutdown happened, our revenue dropped 95% immediately overnight. Immediately. And 95%. So how do you pay your bills when your revenue, basically it was like closing our doors. We are 90 to 95% of our business is dine-in. We had with the first shutdown, we had a carry out business. We had people that would order, you know, food and beverages to go. But we did very little of it. Most people came in for the experience. They came in to not only, you know, take in the experience of the historical building, the ambiance, all of that, but they also came in, you know, to meet with somebody, fellowship, you know, catch up with a girlfriend or a family member, have business meetings, whatever. So most of our business was dine in. We got shut down, dropped 95% of our revenue overnight. So what does that mean? That means that we were doing 5% of 100%. Well, there's no way a business can survive that for a very long period of time. So we existed on what we had, which was very little. We took out a couple of, like I said, we received a couple of grants. We had the PPP loan and we also put some things on a credit card, which I hate to even admit that we did that, because that's not a good thing to do. That's bad business, you know, putting your expenses on a credit card, your fixed expenses. And we had no choice if we wanted to try to survive. So honestly, I still have those credit card bills today, and I still have debt with the business today. So no, without those loans and those grants, there's no way we could have survived. You know, some people, I've heard some, you know, some comments that, well, you know, they didn't advertise or they didn't do enough, or, you know, well, you know, that's easy for somebody to say, but I think that go ahead.
Wait a minute. So you're shut down the first go around, and people in your own community, neighbors basically, are blaming you for not doing enough when you didn't have a choice in the matter.
I don't know if they're neighbors or not, but because, you know, with some of the social media that we have, we don't know where people are coming from, but I'm kind of assuming so. And so, yes, yeah, that's, you know, there's a lot of judgment out there, and people don't really understand what it is. For somebody who's never successfully run, should I add that, maybe successfully run a business? Well, I mean, there is a difference.
No, yeah, there is. I just like that you added it, because that's, you know, to me, honestly, I am in that place right now where snarkiness and light jabs to the rib cage are called for at this point in time. So,
well, you know, I never like to go there, but it's for somebody who's run a successful business. They know that you have to be turning dollars. You have to have a minimum number of dollars that you turn every single day, and if you're not turning that minimum, you're going in the red, right?
oh, yeah.
And yeah, if we're turning more than the minimum, then it means we're making a profit. Some days we make a profit, some days we don't make a profit in business. Hopefully, some days we actually do go in the red, you know, but when you average it all out, hopefully you're coming out ahead. Well, with what happened with our country, where we were in our state where we were shut down, it left us with not a whole lot of choices. What can you do? And we did. You know what? We added delivery. We added online ordering. We got creative with how we packaged our food. For instance, we cut expenses wherever we could cut expenses. We told the window washers, stop coming until we can, you know, afford to have you come again. We cut back on our trash pickup. We cut back on our towel service. We did everything. There were a multitude of things that we did to cut back, to save money, to cut expenses. The worst thing of all that we had to do was we had to lay people off. And as a business owner, I've had to do this only a couple of times, and every time is as hard and as terrible as the first time. No business owner likes to fire a person, likes to lay off somebody. It's never a good thing to do.
So
especially in this situation, we were laying off really great employees that we wanted, employees that we wanted to have, you know, working for us, did a great job, and we had to lay them off simply because we didn't have the business to keep them there.
And that's something I want to touch on, and I touch on this with every single business owner that I talk to. And I'm not tired of talking about, well, now let me rephrase that, Lisa. I am tired of talking about it, but I'm not tired of pointing it out. And here's why. Over and over and over again, not just from people in the Marxist left of our government, and yes, I'm not afraid of saying that. There's just no way to look at what's happening right now and not call it what it is. I know that some people will find that radical. I'm over that too, frankly. I'm over other things as well, like the new normal. This is none of this is good, but
No.
or normal. And so the thing that I want to talk about is that, you know, perusing your Facebook wall, your Facebook page, and looking at reviews, there's a lot of good reviews. And then there are people that are expressing, shall we say, in different ways, some deep dissatisfaction with some of your decision making. And as you pointed out, you have been called any number of names, to include Nazi. I've even seen the accusations that you don't care about people, or that you're putting, as Christians, you're putting profit over people's lives. And as I'm sure you've noticed, I have said, like, no, this is their livelihood. This is their life. It's when you have guaranteed income, whether you get to work from home or your employer pays, continues to pay you, or you are able to continue to go to work because you're in one of those positions that allows for that, or you're one of those people that's fortunate enough to actually get more money on unemployment during this time than you make working your hourly wage job. Don't even get me started on that. It's very easy to point fingers at somebody like a business owner and make it all about how you're just a greedy, greedy, sick, capitalist pig who's only interested in making money at the risk and danger to other people. And I don't think people understand. It's not just you. You have employees. And the day that I was in last week, Christmas Eve, the 23rd I was there, so it was Wednesday last week. You had 2 employees working. I would imagine those employees are hourly employees.
Yes.
Yeah. So they rely on that money.
Right.
Hold on just a second here.
Sure.
Oh, nice. I just got a message from Zoom saying they extended our time. So that's nice. So your employees rely on that, but it's not just your employees. How many people do you employ, by the way?
Well, currently we have 3 employees.
Okay, and they work 25, 30 hours a week?
I have 1 full-time employee, and then the other 2 employees are part-time. So yeah, probably 20 to 30 hours a week.
Okay.
For the part-time.
So you have 3, so basically the equivalent of 2 full-time employees, plus yourself, and you have bills to pay just for the business, not in your own life. You just have bills to pay.
Right.
How many vendors do you work with?
Probably about a total of 12 vendors.
So your one business has 12 vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine most of those vendors are specifically related to, for the most part, not totally, but a good portion of those 12 vendors are probably very much related to the food service industry.
Yes, the food and beverage, yes.
Okay. I don't know that people understand that when you shut down a bistro, just one, mm-hmm. You're affecting not just the owner, you're affecting the employees. And again, 12 vendors. 12 vendors. So that telling people to rely on their carryout only, even in a coffee shop, telling them to rely only on their carryout is hurting everybody down the line, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Have you talked to any of the vendors, the vendor reps? Are they feeling the pinch as well?
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard from them. Basically, all of the vendors have had to, in some form or fashion, reorganize their companies as well. Because one little coffee shop, our little bistro, for instance, take our towel supplier. They supply us with our towels and our rugs and our mop head and our aprons and et cetera, all of our linens and so forth. And when we're not doing business anymore, or when we take a big drop in business, then it affects them. They're not serving us as many towels and linens as they once were. And multiply that times how many businesses in the state of Minnesota are doing that very thing. Not to mention the businesses that closed because they simply could not stay open. So, you know, there were people that were laid off in these companies, our vendors. Some people lost their jobs. Some people had to take a cut in hours. So it absolutely affects everybody. This is a trickle effect. In no way does it just affect the closing of businesses, including restaurants, bars, gyms, dance studios, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't just affect us. It affects everybody. It'll touch every person. This will, almost every person. I shouldn't say every person. Almost every person will this touch. You know, there are people that I think this probably doesn't touch in a financial way, or you know, people such as our governor. I don't think he's taken a cut in pay.
10%, Lisa. He very magnanimously, along with all of his administrative staff, all those people in those administrative offices that he, you know, the Attorney General and others, they all graciously took a 10% cut in pay. That was very 10. Yes, 10%. Yes, 10%.
Wow. I apologize. Forgive me for being for misspeaking there, and that is a huge deal. Then very gracious.
Yes, very. I like your sarcasm. That's, I tell people all the time, I have Paul's gift of sarcasm. So
that's all right. That's good.
Let me ask. I'm gonna, and maybe this will be a harder one for you to answer, but I would, if you can answer it in a way that's protecting. But have you heard from any of your regulars that are upset with you personally? Have they spoken to you or told you that they don't agree? And how has that affected you versus the anonymous trolls who come on your Facebook page?
Well, there have been really just a couple of our regulars that have let us know that, you know, they're maybe not in agreement on, you know, how we're handling things, but the vast majority are in agreement and very supportive. But when you're hiding behind a computer screen or your phone screen or whatever, you're on social media and you're trolling and or you're calling us on our phone, leaving a voicemail. You know, there's different ways that people like to harass, and so it becomes really easy to say some really not so nice things.
Right. Yeah, for sure. How many nights since March have you gone home? Maybe you haven't even made it out of the store. How many nights have you gone home and had, you know, and laid your head down crying through all of this? Maybe you haven't.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's tears. You know, it's a sad situation, but I don't know. I'm of the thinking that how do I say it? You know, it's I guess I'm more concerned about you know, hurting for our employees. We know that our company is a well-loved company. I would hate to see our community lose the Interchange. And so as a company, I mean, as a business owner, you go through a lot of stuff, right? We've never been through anything like this before. I mean, this is a first. Yeah, we're still, you know, trying to wrap our heads around it all. But yeah, I mean, it's not been easy. It's been tough. This year has been probably trying to figure out all this stuff, you know, based around the virus and being shut down, having government, you know, take control out of our hands as far as running our businesses. It's been tough to try to figure it out. It's been day by day. I'm not ever one. It's hard for me to talk about, oh, poor me. So I have a hard time going there. Don't really like to go there. If I do, I don't like to stay there very long. But honestly,
no, I'm insisting, go there.
You know, honestly, I'm going to say it's been, my story is maybe a little different. than others. And I'll be candid, and I don't even know if we talked about this so much, before doing this interview. So you might not appreciate what I have to say, but we've never taken a dime out of this company. My husband owns another company, and he works for that company, and I work for it as well. I have taken a leave of absence to come over to the Interchange. I've taken a leave of absence from our main source to come over to the Interchange and try to help it survive all this crazy stuff. We've actually never taken a dime out of the Interchange. I mean, I don't know. What does that make us? Maybe we're dumb. I don't know. We've always anything.
Clearly greedy, capitalistic pigs who only want to kill grandma.
I know. I know. So we've any profit that the company has made, it's always held its own, and any profit that it's made has always gone back into the company in the form of upgrading an appliance, adding some more tables and chairs, whatever, new espresso machine, replacing the broken down ice machine, on and on, right? Buying some wine glasses, so it's okay. This was a hobby business for us, and we would like to get our money back out of it someday, and that was always the plan. Kind of maybe a retirement, savings, and we'd build it and work it, and then eventually someday we'd get our money back. Maybe one of our kids would want to take over the business or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen now, but it's been a great business. We've loved it. So honestly, for us, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. There's a lot of business owners out there that their restaurant, their bar, their gymnasium, their workout center, whatever, that's their only business. That's their only income. And if they lose that, they risk losing everything. Yeah, I've read stories of business owners who have, with the first shutdown, took a second mortgage, on their home just so that they could fund their business so they could stay open, hoping that the shutdown would end and then they could resume business again as usual. Now this particular business owner is looking at losing not only his business, but his home and everything he's worked his whole life for.
And that's
this is wrong.
Not just one or two. There's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds. And that's the thing that I don't know that people grasp this. They act like every restaurant and bar is Applebee's and Outback and McDonald's and all of that. Those businesses are the minority in Minnesota. Those businesses are really the minority everywhere in the United States. The backbone of the food service industry, the backbone of the restaurants and the bistros and the cafes and the bars and grills and the sports bars in this country, but especially in Minnesota, are the mom and pop, locally owned, locally invested businesses. And so when you act so nonchalant towards a business owner saying, well, Applebee's can do it. Oh, well, they're a franchisee too. Yeah, because the corporation's still going to step in and help that franchisee, or they're going to take it over so that it doesn't get closed down. That's just the way they operate. They have that as a franchisor. They have the ability to do that. They keep a controlling interest in the business. And so, so that's not the case for the majority of businesses in Minnesota that are in that food service world. And they don't know, people don't know how much it hurts a business owner. And to hear you sit here and say, we haven't taken a dime, but that doesn't mean we don't understand that this is hurting people. That's what I want people to hear. That's what I want people to hear is, and I'm interacting with people through your Facebook and the Facebook on other people's businesses, and I'm seeing these horrible things being said about them, and I'm like, do you not understand? How can you not see this? And then you go and you watch some idiot who likes to drive in snowstorms and ice storms, drive around and take pictures of parking lots that are jammed full of cars, and then tell me that I'm missing the point. That Menards in Rochester claim on the south side of town claims that it can house over 7,000 people, 7,000 people, maintaining social distancing guidelines from the CDC in their store at a time. Now, do I believe they've had 7,000 people in their store? No, but that's not the point. You tell me I'm in just an unparalleled level of disconnect and misunderstanding and misinformation because I point out that the Interchange is safe, but Menards is claiming they can seat or hold 7,000 people, and somehow I'm wrong. Lisa's wrong. People are upset with you, Lisa, because, and I've interacted with one of them, because you don't care about keeping people safe, that somehow it's your responsibility to make your business a very particularly safe business for one particular group of people. And what I don't understand, from what I saw, that business was cleaner than I've seen a lot of small town businesses, considering grocery stores and fast food or convenience stores. 1,000 times cleaner. How on earth, as a private business owner, can anybody look at you and say it's your responsibility to make sure that this one particular type of person must at all times be able to do whatever they want and demand whatever they want of you, and have you, how many hoops would you have to jump through?
Right. Yeah, that's, you know, as a business owner, customer service is huge on the list of, you know, what we do and what we try to do at our very best. You know, with this virus, I think, yeah, we've all gone a little crazy with it. A lot of people are running in fear. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. There's a lot to be said about that, but without getting too much into that, yeah, it's, you know, we do try to cater to our customer, but there has to be a line of common sense, you know, in all decisions made in when we are serving our customers. And it's okay if somebody feels unsafe, they don't have to come in. It's okay. We're not forcing anybody to be there. They don't have to come in. We welcome anybody who wants to come in and dine with us, come in and, you know, do carry out or whatever. We do our very best to follow all of the health department protocols for our restaurant, as far as cleaning and sanitizing and all of that.
I noticed your staff were wearing face coverings.
They were, and I'm going to be honest with you, that's by choice.
Correct.
You know, my responsibility is my responsibility. Sorry, let me rephrase that. My health is my responsibility.
There you go.
The health of my family is my responsibility. Your health is your responsibility. I'm not responsible for your health. I think you had some interesting comments to make about, you know, how far do we take that? Somebody had said that. You
might have read something, yes.
Yeah, I might have. And, you know, honestly, I'm not seeing a whole lot of the social media comments anymore. I get, you know, I'll get on every once in a while, but it's just, I just don't have time for it, to be honest with you. So I'm thankful for the people that are on there monitoring, and the supporters that are on there kind of taking care of the trolls that are, you know, not being so nice. But, you know, and I welcome fair play, fair game as far as having a discussion, you know, two people that maybe don't agree. That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a discussion. We're not all going to agree. Okay. We're not all going to agree. It's my choice as an American citizen, how I take care of my health, how I handle my health. You know, we are thoughtful people. We do our research. We have collectively, between my husband and I no kidding, we've read hundreds of hours of research And at some point, you gotta think. You gotta use this brain that the good Lord gave us, and we've got to use some common sense and apply that. We've got to look outside of the box. We got to stop listening to the MSMs, major medias, and we gotta look around a little bit and use some common sense. So I don't want to pick on anybody.
No, I don't want you to, but I want people. That's why I brought this up. Is, you know, I know what you were going to reference. I tend to use a methodology that's referred to as the argumentum ad absurdum, the reductio ad absurdum, which is, let's take your position to its, and it can be a logical fallacy, but it's a great arguing tool. Let's take your position to its logical conclusion. Where do we draw the line? Where does my health now become everybody else's concern, and who determines that, and at what level? Does the state step in and require all fat people to go on a diet and control where they can shop, and not only where they shop, but what they buy when they shop?
Yeah.
Should every single citizen in the United States or in the state of Minnesota be required to carry a firearm for the protection of everyone else around them from violent crime? I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to them, but there again, where do you draw the line?
Right.
Does the government get to control our diet? Because obesity and diabetes and other heart conditions that are brought on by dietary problems are far more dangerous and kill far more people and have far more debilitating effects on the healthcare system, and it's far more of a burden. So if someone doesn't, and I've seen comments directed at other businesses. Well, I hope all you and your staff get COVID and get sick, and then the hospitals refuse to cover you. So can I say that to a fat guy? Can I say that to a smoker?
Well,
well, no, I'm not asking if I should, but that's where we're at. So I'm going to ask a couple of more things, and because I'm very thankful for your time, and I know you had a rough day. So the first thing I'm going to ask is you were very busy today with preparing for court, I assume. Is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question.
You were busy today preparing for court?
We were busy today with about 130 pages of unfinished unfinished paperwork from the state level. We were sent out. I think we're all being sent out the same packets of paperwork from the state Minnesota Department of Health and the Attorney General's office, and so we were working on a lot of that today. We were on the phone with our assistants of counsel for our legal battle. We were on the phone with local authorities. Yeah, there was a lot going on today. It was quite a day.
When do you go to court?
That's a good question. Sometime we don't know yet. We have not been given a date.
Okay. I know on this part of it, I don't want you to go into detail. Have you been approached by local law enforcement, the county, the city? Have they come and said, hey, do you know you're in violation? And we've had calls. Has that happened to you yet?
Yes, in part, yes, that has happened.
I know that the sheriff of Freeborn County has been very, shall we say, very reticent to involve himself in prosecuting or enforcing the governor's mandates. That's been pretty clear. Is the city responding the same way?
Yeah, Sheriff Freitag has been extremely supportive, really, really helpful. He understands the Constitution, and I think that's really important to point out here. Is that I mean, he'll be the first to say that he doesn't know as much about the Constitution as he would like to know. I certainly don't, but I think we're all learning at this point.
But that's changing.
It sure is. We are getting an education, that's for sure. But so he's been super supportive. And Constitution is so important to know. And I wish I would have studied a little harder in school. And of course, they didn't really teach that in school when I was in school, right? That wasn't something that was so important then. But that's a subject for another time. Anyway, you know, I'm going to say this. I want to be very careful here. Because we are business owners in town and we live, you know, we plan on being in town for a lot longer. We plan on having our businesses in town till the, you know, end of time. But we are very supportive of law enforcement. We appreciate, respect, and love our police force, our police department, the people that serve our city. We know it's not an easy job. And they sacrifice a lot. They put their lives on the line.
Quite literally lately in Albert Lea. Yeah.
Sometimes on a daily basis. Maybe it is a daily basis. And I don't understand the shoes they walk in. I don't walk in their shoes. I don't know what that's like. So, and I don't want to know. I respect what they do. I'm very thankful for it. You know, there are some decisions that are made from our police department that I would like to see maybe a little more constitutional backing for us as a business. I mean, that's really where we're going with this fight is we are looking at the Constitution for our guidance as to how to fight this fight. So I'm going to say I have been treated very well by our local law enforcement. And I hope we can continue to get along really well. And of course, they should all see it my way, right? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Actually,
no, and I know you're joking. I know that's tongue in cheek, but quite frankly, they've taken that oath, and they should be seeing it your way. And I'm actually, you know, frankly, I'm waiting for one of the sheriffs or several of the sheriffs of Rocks and Cow Country to stand up and say, we're no longer are we not only going to not enforce this, but we will be arresting anyone who trespasses on these people's property with unlawful orders. Because that's starting to happen in some places, and sometimes it's the people. I was at the Alibi a couple of weeks ago, and I guarantee you, no amount of law enforcement was going to come in there and shut that place down that day. It was not going to happen. So. So now I'm going to finish off our conversation by asking this, because I know that this is a subject that's near and dear to your guys' hearts. Rumor has it that you are very devout and faithful Christians.
Is that right? Okay. I mean, yes, we're Christians.
Has this been a struggle for you in the realm of your faith? Not as your faith being challenged, but because there are teachers out there that are well respected that just even disagree on this. There are some out there who are saying, oh nope, the Bible says we are to submit to governing authority, and you know, when that was written, Rome was crucifying Christians. And there are others who are far more popular and more well respected than I am. I'm a nobody, who would say we're to recognize what our governing authority is. And here in the United States, that's not a governor or a mayor or even a sheriff or even the president. Our governing authority in the state of Minnesota and in the United States as a whole is the Constitution. Have you had that internal struggle as a Christian? What does this look like for me?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. I would have to say no. I haven't had a struggle.
Well, thanks for laying that on my lap, Todd. Now I'll think about that all night.
No, I have not had a struggle. What is there to struggle over? These are men and women that we put into positions of authority. We've elected them. They have a guideline to follow. That guideline is the Constitution of the United States of America. Evidently, we made some wrong choices about some of our governing officials, and they're not following the Constitution. They're not following the guidelines that were set forth for them. And I mean, that has nothing to do, to me, that has nothing to do with, you know, my Christian faith. It's a black and white issue to me. You know, we go back into the Old Testament, you know, God really didn't want to give the Israelites a king, but they wanted a king, they wanted a ruler, they wanted a government, right? And so he said, okay. You know, finally he said, I'll give you a king. And then what happened? You know, the king said, okay, all your sons are gonna go to war now. He took all the children, all the young men, you know, out of the homes, and they went to war. And then it's like, oh, well, we didn't really mean it. You know, here we have a government. We have a government, and we need to remember something really important here, and something that I've been getting an education, and we need to remember that our government is here to serve us, we the people. We the people are to govern the elected officials. I think we've lost sight of that in our country. I think a lot of us forget who really has the authority. You know, there's been a lot of people saying, well, you have to do it because it's the governor said so, and he's the law. Well, we've elected the governor, and the governor is subsequent to the Constitution of the United States of America, which means that he serves, or she serves, we the people. And we have rights, we have liberties, and we have freedoms. Those liberties and freedoms are being trampled. They're being stripped from us. Are we going to continue to lay down and let people run us over? Are we going to continue to let our elected officials practice tyranny on us as individuals? Are we going to allow them to continue to come into our homes and say, you can only have X number of people in your home at this particular time of the year? Or are they going to mandate us to take a vaccine that some of us say, no, thank you, don't want that vaccine, don't need that vaccine? Now, how far are we going to let the government go? When are we going to stand up and be the Americans that we are and have been? What about all the men and the women who have sacrificed their blood, have sacrificed their lives, have sacrificed their families' lives, families that have sacrificed letting their husband, wife, brother, son, sister, daughter, aunt, uncle, whatever, go off to war? That's a sacrifice, right? That's a sacrifice when people back home here are saying goodbye for 6 months, a year, whatever, while our servicemen and women are serving our great country, protecting us. What have they fought for? What have they died for? What has the blood of American soldiers been shed on foreign soil for? What's the reason for that? Let's start thinking about this again. Let's think, where are we at? Where have we come to? Where did we come from? Where have we come to? And where do we want to go? This is a republic, ladies and gentlemen. The United States of America is a republic. Look it up, study it, understand it. We are not a socialist country. We don't want to be a socialist country. If you want a socialist country, you're living in the wrong country. We are not a communist country. If you want to live in a communist society, you're going to have to go live somewhere else, because the United States of America is a republic. There's a whole lot of history here. There's a reason for that we are a republic. There's a reason that people gave their lives. So when all is said and done, so this year it was a virus. Next year, what's it going to be? I just got word.
Ask that question, please.
Okay. So did you hear? I just heard that there is now, they're reporting now on a new strain of COVID-19.
In Britain, yep.
And I think there's one case here in the US. I mean, come on. We are not going to do this again. We're not going to do this again. You guys, you need to start looking elsewhere. Get off of the MSMs. You need to dig. You need to seek for the truth. If you seek the truth, you will find it, but you're not seeking the truth, people, and you need to seek the truth. So I'm sorry, I got up on my soapbox there, but you know, we're getting angry. We're getting angry now because you're destroying Americans by these tyrannical edicts that are coming forth out of our governments. You are destroying children's lives. The children's depression and suicide is on the increase. It's on the rise.
Yep.
Adults, depression and suicide is on the rise. We know this. We know that addiction is on the rise. We know that alcoholism is on the rise. We know that people are struggling in so many ways. We know that domestic abuse is on the rise, right? People are not handling this. We were not made to handle being shut down, shut in our homes, and oppressed by a tyrannical government. This is America. We don't operate in this fashion. We don't function like this. We need our freedoms. And everybody keeps going back to it's the virus. I know there's a virus. We know that we're dealing with something, right? We've always dealt with something. You know, the other day I heard somebody say, yeah, this is a virus, but it ain't Ebola. This is nothing compared to, and yet we are treating it. We're acting in more extreme ways with this virus than we have, I think, probably anything else that we've ever faced in our nation, and probably even including the Spanish flu. Now I might get some some people mad about me saying that, but we're smart people. We can handle our health. We can be safe. We can make decisions for ourselves. And I'm just rambling on here. So
no, this is. But see, you said something to me yesterday when we were chatting, and I do want to, for your sake, I want to wrap this up because I could go on for a very long time. You had said something yesterday. Well, I'm not really good with interviews. Like, no, you're right. You're not good. This is excellent. So, I had made this analogy with somebody earlier, but I'm going to make this analogy with you because I think you're going to understand what I'm saying. And I think you'll take it the way I intend it to be taken because you clearly have an intellect. So, and a thought process that seems to be functioning better than the vast majority of people I've been interacting with lately. As a Christian, if you're familiar with the Old Testament, there comes a time in the history of Israel where God has kind of had it with them. And no, people, for all of my other Reformed Calvinistic brethren out there, I'm not getting all weird on you here, okay? So just settle down. Just so you know, I'm a little bit of a Calvinist. So there's this thing that happens in Israel. They're kind of cruddy little kids. They're not real good followers of Yahweh. And God says, okay, I've been giving you prophets. Now I'm giving you judges. And then at one point, God raises up a female judge. And so many Christians today will point to this. See, God put women in a leadership position. God put that female judge in place over Israel as a judgment on Israel, but in particular on the failings of the men. And what I'm watching today, and this is what I said to a friend earlier, what I'm watching here, this is not some weird hyper spiritual link, but what I'm watching, even in the patriotic constitutionalist movement, is we're being judged. And part of that judgment is we see the vast majority of men who are sitting back on their keyboards and on their phone and on their tablets and everything talking about, oh, I'm sick of all of this government overreach, and I can't believe that they're telling me I have to wear a mask everywhere I go, and I'm sick of having to do this, and when's enough going to be enough? But you know who's taking the leadership in this almost across the board right now? It's women. Who's being persecuted, prosecuted? It's the women. It's Lisa Hanson at the Interchange. It's Lisa Monet Zarza at Alibi. It's Larvita McFarquhar at Haven's Garden. It's what is her name? Jane at the Boardwalk Cafe in
East Grand Forks.
East Grand Forks, over and over and over and over and over again. Women are standing up and saying, you're not doing this, not just because I'm greedy, but because you don't get to do this to our country. And men are sitting back doing, in not all cases, hear me, but the spine of this movement right now is women. The vast majority of the people coming after the women are men. A lot of the attacks coming against these women are coming from men. And other men are sitting back and doing nothing. They're cowering. I'm not wearing a mask anymore. I'm tired of it. And then they get in their car and they put their mask on. They won't go out to a rally. They won't go out to a local business that says, you know what, screw you, walls, I'm opening up. This is a judgment on us, men. And I'm, for one, I'm proud to see these women stand up. I'm proud of them. This isn't about me. This is about them. This is about the Lisas and the Larvitas and the Janes and the others. But where are the men? Now, you're fortunately, you have a very supportive and strong husband, and I saw that the other day. But that's what we're at right now, and that's it. It's a judgment, and so, Lisa, I just want you to know that, like I told you, I want your story out there because there's so much misrepresentation. There's just like there's no way anybody's going to watch this. The tens and tens. Some people get thousands. I get tens and tens. No one's going to watch this. Really watch this. Really digest what you've been saying and be able to walk away and go, oh, no, that's all a show. She didn't mean any of it. She's just a greedy woman. There's no way they're going to be able to say that. There's a cognitive disconnect. There's a cognitive dissonance right now from people who 9 months ago would have gladly gone in. People who were on the left would have shown up at a place like the Interchange and felt right at home because it's a judgment-free zone. You don't have somebody in there standing up with a Bible, smacking people when they walk through the door. You're not in there. You weren't in there forcing constitutions into the hand. Well, you might want to consider doing now, but you weren't in there forcing constitutions into people's hands, telling them you can't come in here unless you can swear that you believe all of these things. You were just doing business. And here, in the span of a very short period of time, you're now a public enemy. And so this is about you. And I'm thankful, one, that we met. Two, I'm maybe above all of that, I'm thankful for what you're doing because you're sending a message. And this not going down without a fight, that's the American spirit. That's what this country was built on. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. That's part of the American dream. I'm not going to go down without a fight. You don't get to take my life from me. You don't get to take my livelihood from me. That's not okay. And so I want you to know that, and you know this already, but there are a lot of people out there right now who are getting to your level of frustration, who are ready to rise up and support you. And I want you to keep me abreast, excuse me, of what's going on, how things are going, when you're going to go to court, and what the hearing is like. And I really would like to get pictures of that service that you guys got that was blowing all over your yard the other day. That would have been so.
I have pictures.
Yeah, so you'll have to get those to me so I can include them with the video. Very quick, brief closing statement, and then I'll let you log out. I really appreciate your time, and you are very much an inspiration to people like me. I don't feel nearly as crazy or alone now. So what would you you said a lot. Your brief summation, what is your message to the people of Albert Lea and Freeborn County?
The message is join the movement of freedom and liberty, regaining our freedoms and liberties. You know, join this movement, this constitutional movement. The reason we're doing what we are doing, honestly, is for our children and our grandchildren and future generations. We need to see businesses open back up. We need to see them open back up now, not in a month from now, not in 3 months from now. We need to see businesses open back up, but join the movement, because until we gain back our liberties and our freedoms, until we, the people, are reminding our elected officials what their jobs are, they're going to continue to try to take more liberties and more freedoms from us, right? So join the movement to reopen Minnesota, which will reopen America. I believe that we can all do this together. We can open up together, and we can have our great country back again. Liberties, and we can regain those liberties and freedoms again for our children and our grandchildren, as well as future generations. It's a must. We have to do this. If we don't do this now, I fear that we lose our country for good.
Yeah. Lisa, once again, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for putting your neck out and, you know, being out there and being an inspiration. To trust me, there are people who are noticing you. I had a friend from Rochester that saw the video the other day and drove over to from Rochester. So
cool. Thank you.
And so I just want you to know, and I have a severely deep respect and admiration for you, and a mutual I don't know if mutual is the right word, just a very profound level of respect for what you're doing and your courage, and I can't thank you enough for your time tonight. So Godspeed.
Thank you.
And take care. And if there's anything that I or anybody else that I'm connected with can do to help you out, let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. Thanks for the work that you're doing for all of us and for our freedoms and liberties. And just keep it up. Keep up the good work. And together, you know, we can all beat this thing. I believe we can.
Absolutely. God bless. Take care.
God bless.